Hey everybody, William here with the Carshare Academy, and I am super excited to kick off this new video series with you called the Rising Star series. And what we're doing here is we are focusing on men and women across the United States who in the last few months, maybe the last year, have started Turo businesses and are off to an amazing start. Their businesses are thriving, they are scaling, and they are very quickly becoming rising stars in the Turo community. So we're going to kick it off with this video where I'm going to introduce you to Christie out in Seattle, Washington, and I know that you're going to love hearing her story. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so I am super excited to be talking to Christie Reeves, who is in the Seattle, Washington market. Christie and I have known each other for a few months now, along with her business partner, Ramfis, and they have got a really cool story that I'm just super excited to share with the Carshare Academy audience. And we're just going to jump right into it. So, Christie, hello. Thanks for being here today.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun watching your story over the last several months and just our conversations about how you're doing. And I've really enjoyed being a part of that. So I think where I would like to start today is with you just telling us a little bit about your Turo business as it is today and kind of what you expect in the coming weeks and months for your Turo business.
Okay. So as it is today, right now, I run a fleet of 8 of my own that we started, back in July. And I got 2 cars that I co-host on the 17th of January. We're really ramping up right now. I just onboarded another 6, so I have now doubled my fleet from the 17th till now, pretty much. So I'm going to be running 16 cars by the end of this week.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm super excited. I have another co-host opportunity that's coming up, and I get to put the first Porsche Panamera on the Turo platform up here in Seattle, because we looked, and so that's one of my co-host people that I have as well.
I am so happy to hear that that's you because just in the last few days, I was talking to somebody, just me and this other person talking. I think it was in our coaching group, and she was saying, you know what, I've got this Porsche Panamera that I'm talking to somebody up in Seattle, Washington about sending it up to them because it's not doing great here. And I'm thinking, well, I think a Porsche will do pretty good in Seattle. But now that I know it's coming into your hands, I know it's going to do great. Very cool.
Yeah, yes, I'm so excited. Yeah, it's such a great opportunity, and, just to try out the market and see where we go, because we're going to set the bar.
Absolutely.
Where it goes, yeah.
That is very cool. So you have gone from 0 to 16 cars in about 7 months.
Absolutely.
That's
Yes.
really impressive. It took me 15 months to get to 20. So you're kicking my ass. I mean, you're doing fantastic.
No, you're definitely the guru. We look up to you, no, I read your story and it is so beautiful. And yeah, absolutely. I model myself right after you.
Yeah, well, thank you. But man, this is a celebration of you here that we're doing today, and I'm really proud of the success that you're seeing. So let me ask you this. Before you got into this whole world of Turo, did you have any kind of background experience in like the auto industry or the car rental industry, anything at all?
Nothing besides renting, nothing at all. I just, I never even heard of Turo until the first day that I rented from them.
Okay. Which leads us into our next question. How did you learn about Turo? What's your story there? How'd you find out about it?
Oh my gosh, it's good. So, okay. So the first of last year, it was really hard to get cars, like rent cars. Ramfis comes, visits, and so I renting cars, when he comes into town. And it just kept getting increasingly harder and harder, and I was like, what am I going to do? Because he was going to come in July. And I'm like, I can't get a car. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I have to have a car because we had trip plan, it was like a 9-day thing, And so I just Googled, car renting places, on Google. And I was like, wait a minute, Turo popped up. I was like, all right, we're going to try this. The prices were good, way better than the ones that I'd seen, like Enterprise, or even just going through Avis, where they're gonna, charge $500 on your card to hold. Which, what if I need that on my trip? I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. Turo doesn't do that. And so I was like, we're gonna try it. I had to take a lift to where the car was at, which was fine. I showed up, and it was kind of like awkward at first, because I was like, because I'd never done this before. You're showing up to somebody's house,
Right.
and the lady came out. She checked in the car. She's like, all right, you're ready to go. And I was like, why am I not doing this? Why am I not doing this? I asked her a few questions, So then I picked up the car, and Ramfis flew in, and I have got these wheels like turning in my head going, oh my gosh, I'm doing numbers in my mind, just easy numbers in my mind, and I'm like, I'm going to pitch this. So for 4 days, I pitched Ramfis for 4 days. It worked, because by the 17th of July, we got our first car. Then by the end of July, we ended up with 2 more. So I had 3. Mm-hmm. September, we picked up the 6, and we've just been on a roll as far as, working the cars, and, that's pretty much it. And then the co-hosting thing, just rolls right in with our plan and how we want to move our business,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very cool. And I'm learning that about a lot of hosts. It's kind of the same story with me. It's the same story with you. And I learn this about a lot of folks, that the people who get into this, it's because they stumbled across it and they didn't even know it existed. And it just, somehow they just tripped over this thing called Turo, and a light went off, and they thought, oh, I can build a business here.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Cause I was like, we can have this car paid off in this many months, and then I can run this car for this many years, and regular maintenance, stuff like that. But realistically, that's this little compared to this much,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super cool. I knew, I've known you guys, I think from day one, and I knew you were doing this and getting into this, but I had no idea you were scaling as quickly as you were. So I'm super impressed by that. So, the next question that I wanted to talk about, and I think you've kind of already answered this, but if you want to expand on it a little bit, is what was it about Turo that hooked you in, that really convinced you that this would be a great opportunity for you specifically?
The freedom. I was just amazed at how simple it is, how just how this business, you can just work it. I was working full time up until October with the 8. Mm-hmm. And so, even it's the freedom, I think, mm-hmm. Just knowing the numbers, seeing the numbers, and being able to be my own boss,
yeah.
It's, yeah. That's
that freedom to just kind of take control of your own life and work and earn money on your own terms is pretty, it's pretty intoxicating, isn't it?
It's the greatest feeling in the world to wake up in the morning and know that I'm doing this for myself. I'm not doing it for anybody else.
Right.
And to not, just to have that freedom to not have to answer to anybody. Mm-hmm. And if I make it, if I succeed, then that's all I need, this business, I don't have to prove myself to anybody else besides myself, or, my business partner, Ramfis, yeah.
Good stuff. So, coming into this, and I was the same way as you, coming into this with absolutely no background in the auto industry, no background in the auto rental industry. I wasn't even really that much. Wasn't even really a car guy when I got into this. I loved driving convertibles, but that was the extent of my car guy stuff. So, coming into this with no background, there's a learning curve there. There's this can be a risky business. There are a lot of things that you really have to guard against and protect yourself against. So I'm wondering, when that light bulb went on, and on day 7, when you finally convinced Ramfis that this is something that you guys wanted to do, what was your next step in learning what you needed to learn, educating yourself, preparing yourself to actually do this right? How did you go about that?
So I think at first, we really kind of like jumped in and started learning the business as we went.
Mhm.
But quickly, just the networking and stuff, just the asking questions, connecting with the Turo communities, connecting with you, really like is like where we have been, like as far as like learn with the learning curve, stuff like that, just really like it's learning as we went, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I think too, like I wish we would have been able to like do a little bit like connect with you sooner, because like the knowledge that you have, I think would like help so many people starting this business. Sure.
Yeah, again, our stories are very parallel here. I learned it as I went. I joined all the Facebook groups and read all the stuff, the good, the bad, the ugly in the Facebook groups. And yeah, I learned as I went as well. And you've done a great job with that approach. So thinking about where you've gone from July through today, and we're recording this in about mid-February of 2022. As you look back over those months, scaling from, my gosh, what did we say? 16 vehicles you're going to be at?
Yeah.
Scaling from 0 to
As of Saturday. Yep.
Yeah, scaling from 0 to 16 in 7 months blows my mind. But what would you say have been the best and smartest moves that you've made in these 7 months?
Definitely connecting with the Turo community, with you for sure, doing research, really getting the market analysis, knowing what cars like really are good for your area. Like I just there I think that just really building the network, so you have people to ask,
Right.
and the network,
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge part to our success, is just bringing the right people around us to teach us and support us and encourage us, but also pushing the wrong people away, because there's a lot of folks out there in the community, unfortunately, and not just in the Turo world, but in any community that are going to be your detractors and the negative folks that kind of poison the waters for you. So I think that's hugely important, surrounding yourself by the right people as you get started. So you've done that. Yeah. So let's talk about this. And this is kind of the flip side to that question. And it's the side that we often don't like talking about. But can you think of any mistakes or missteps that you've made along the way over the last 7 months?
So I can say that from the beginning, definitely not taking the right amount of photos.
Okay.
Like I know that's like definitely, because like with Turo, it has you the front, the side, the back.
Are you talking about pre-trip photos?
The pre-trip photos,
okay.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah. That's one thing that I really wish that I would have like been able to like know, like I needed like to take 100 photos every time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Let me see. Yeah.
So let me just jump in and ask you on this whole photo issue with the pre-trip photos and the number of photos that you take. Have you, in the 7 months that you've been doing this, have you had any kind of negative experience with a damage claim that was the result of not having the right kind of pre-trip photos to document the condition of the vehicle?
Definitely making sure, um, yes, I like have had a little bit of issues because the nighttime when getting them checked in can be difficult.
Yeah.
So what I found is that driving them to a gas station, taking photos, because sometimes the dark is hard to prove. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like if if it was pre or exist, like pre or prior. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think what I'm getting at is, have you had a claim denied, or have you had an adjustment to the claim because of missing or inadequate photos?
Um, yes, only for it was like the front dash of one of my cars. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you couldn't like the glue and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It was denied. So now I know, like it was a learning curve. Like I said, I'm take like yeah, upwards of 100 pictures now.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I usually take somewhere between 50 and 60, but I had a damage claim very early on, and it was very minor. It was a tire issue, and there was just a little gouge in the tire when it came back, and I submitted a damage claim, and they kicked it back to me and said, "Well, no, if you take a closer look at your pre-trip photos, you'll see that that gouge is there on your pre-trip photos as well." And I just didn't pay enough attention, and I ended up filing a claim that ended up getting kicked back to me. It should have been, it was my error. But you're right; those pre-trip photos are so incredibly important. I'm glad to hear that you haven't had a significant issue with this, because there have been hosts who have had catastrophic damage claims declined because they did not have photos to document the condition of the vehicle before it went out. Or maybe, there are even some hosts out there who have this bad habit of recycling pre-trip photos from previous trips, just using the same set of photos over and over again. And then when there is a damage claim and they pull the encrypted metadata out of those photos, and they see that, oh, this set of photos was taken 3 weeks ago, they're going to have a claim denied. So
Right.
yeah, so I'm glad you learned that lesson very early on before you had any kind of very bad situation there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your operation. And you've already shared this with us, but you're a big part of what you're doing now that you're focusing on is co-hosting vehicles that are owned by other people. So I'm curious, what made you lean into that approach to building your business?
I think that we are in like with the cars that I have, we're fine. And the thing is, what what we've seen is people have cars like sitting out there that they're not using. If you're not using your car, why not make some money? Why not turn your liability into an asset? And so then there's also people out there who just really want that passive income. And so I'm here, like give me your cars, it's, it's a way for us to scale, make extra money, and then make money for other people, help support, I think that um, we definitely, like have found quite a few people out there who have cars, that do want to make that money. And yeah,
Mhm.
why not? It's such a great way to like make passive income. I take care of everybody's cars like I take care of mine. If you look through, my customer service is like through the roof, on my end. So yeah, so why not make some extra money? And like,
Absolutely. So the vehicles that you're co-hosting, are they primarily owned by other Turo hosts, or are they owned by just people in your life that you've come across who aren't involved in Turo in any way, shape, or form, but they just have this vehicle that they want to make some income from? What's the balance there between Turo hosts and non-Turo hosts?
so my first contract, she is a Turo host, but she just doesn't have the time. Her other business and things that she's doing with her life just she just doesn't have the time to really like market them and get them out there. And so, so it just frees her up with, for that. We have like the Panamera is coming, because we want to test the waters with that. Also, that contract, she wants to also have passive income. She's got kids, so she wants, some income coming in, so that frees her up so she can do what she wants. And the other contract we have, that's coming up as well, she's just wanting passive income. She's older, she just wants, some money coming in. And so, yeah, so it just, like our motto just kind of fits in with what they need. And, I've got, I guess, 14 people that are looking at me co-hosting in this area. Yeah, that's what I got the report. So from Ramfis. Yeah.
That's cool. So there are a lot of hosts out there, especially right now. As you know, we're in this time when it's really difficult to get vehicles. We have a microchip shortage and a production shortage, so new vehicles are not rolling off the lots. Car dealership parking lots are empty. We have pre-owned used vehicles that are, hell, they cost as much, if not more, than a brand new vehicle did 2 years ago. Just ridiculous prices. So there's hosts all across the country right now who want to scale. They want to build these fleets, but they just can't get their hands on vehicles. So co-hosting is a solution right now. Help with that. What would you say to the person who's wanting to find vehicles to co-host? What would you say to them are some of the best ways to find those people and find those vehicles? And I'm not talking about fellow Turo hosts. We all know it's pretty easy to find one another in the Turo world. But if somebody wants to find vehicles to host that are not owned by Turo hosts, do you have any advice on how people should go about locating those people and those vehicles?
So the vehicles, I guess, right now what we're doing, we're just doing our own searching, going to car dealerships, stuff like that. Finding, and so the second part would be finding the people for the dealerships, or are you talking about the cars?
Well, I'm talking about if I want to co-host somebody's vehicle, how do I find those people who have a vehicle sitting in their driveway not being driven?
Got you. Okay.
To get them to send it to me.
Networking. Talking to everybody that you come across. Ask them. Go to dealerships. Go to and I went, like the young lady that I'm co-hosting for with my first contract right now. We actually met her we met her through one of the people that we had bought the car from at a dealership. And so he was like, hey, I have, a niece. And really what we were trying to do with that was network to get contracts, to run cars for the city, or, trying just to find ways to get our cars out there so that we can market them. And so that's how we ran across our first contract.
Okay. So yeah, I think beginning with your circle of family and friends. I know that one of the first vehicles that two of the vehicles out of the 5 that I co-hosted were just personal friends of mine. They saw me making these crazy posts on Facebook that I'm renting out my vehicles to strangers and making this money, and just personal friends of mine said, hey, I got a car. Let me send it to you. Manage it for me and make a deposit in my PayPal every month. Another approach that almost worked for me, but the guy kind of got cold feet and backed out, but I think it's a good approach, is a lot of auto body shops and mechanic shops have a fleet of loaner vehicles. Okay. And there are certain times during the year, like with all of our businesses, we have seasonal ups and downs, busy periods and slow periods. It's the same thing with car repair shops and body shops. So there's certain times during the year where that mechanic shop or body shop may have their entire fleet of loaner cars just sitting on the back lot, not being used. And you might approach that body shop or that car shop and say, hey, why don't you let me Turo these vehicles for you? let me get these vehicles out on the road making you money while they're not being used as loaner vehicles for your customers. So I think that is an approach that, people should explore as well.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if it's a shop that you've built a relationship with, which was kind of my case. I have one shop who does everything for me. They do all my mechanical, my maintenance, and my body work. So I've gotten to know this guy on a pretty personal level. And if you can forge that kind of relationship with a shop to where they're doing all your work for you and they're getting all of your business, and they also have this fleet of loaner cars, that kind of opens that door and might give you the ability to add 6, 8, 10 vehicles just from one person. So
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's a good idea.
yeah. So if you could gather a whole bunch of aspiring Turo hosts together in a room, which is probably kind of what we're doing with this video, and say 3 things to them that you feel are the 3 most important things that you could say to this room of people, what would those 3 things be?
I'm gonna grab my notes right now because I think that definitely building your infrastructure is
Okay.
one. Having, you know, the your like you said, the mechanics, this, all those people ready because things happen.
Mhm.
Um, don't get frustrated when you get a 3-inch scratch on your car
Mhm.
because it's going to happen. You can't be emotionally invested in the vehicle at all. Like, you got to look at it as money, coming in, making you money, and really, I think the third thing is just build the business to like what works for you. Like, if you just want a couple of cars that are going to bring you in that little extra money that you can take your kids on a vacation, or if you want to scale like me, where I want to build $1 million business,
Mhm.
like, it just, you can make it however you want, and and definitely customer service, always have that in mind because that goes a long way, and so,
Mhm.
I love the Turo business, and like I'm so thankful for it. Absolutely. Because yeah, I could do all those things. I could be
Right.
my own boss.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. So, if there are Turo hosts or non-Turo hosts across the country who are watching this YouTube video, um, and they want to send vehicles to somebody to be managed, are you open to receiving more vehicles from other hosts?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The more the better. I've
More
got
the better.
I've got it. I'm right by the airport. Let's get these cars and make this money. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Good stuff. Well, I would like to see a bunch of cars head your way for you and Ramfis to just continue building your empire. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they want to send a vehicle to you?
They can get in contact with me. My phone number, it's 206-806-3614. Also, I have, it's R&R Car Rentals 2022 at gmail.com. So it's R and spelled out ANDR, Car Rentals 2022 at gmail.com. Yeah.
2022, 2022.
Yep. The year we got our LLC. That's right.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Because I'm going to drop this information on the screen after I get the editing done here so people will see it. I want to make sure I got that right. So the phone number was 206-806-3614.
Yep, that's me.
And just be aware your phone number just went out to the entire world.
Okay. Call me. Give me your cars. Take them. What's the worst that's going to happen? I don't pick up. No.
Right. And then the email address is RANDRCARRENTALS 2022 at Gmail.
Car rentals. Yep. Yep. Got you.
All right.
Yep.
Fantastic. So as we wrap this up, let me just ask you this. Did we miss anything? Is there anything else that you'd like to share about your story that we didn't touch on?
just that, like, dream big, because it can happen. Like, you know, dream big, you can make it. Like, it's just amazing. It is just so amazing, the opportunities that Turo has, like, presented and opened up so many doors for me. Yeah.
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 Good stuff. Well, hey, this has been great. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to just sit and visit with me and share your story with everybody who's going to be watching this. I know that there's going to be people who are inspired by your story, who see your success, who see how you've scaled so quickly and are making this thing work, that it's going to give them the confidence to step out there and do this for themselves. So really appreciate you sharing your story. And good stuff. It's been a pleasure of mine to be a part of your story. It's been a real honor just to have the interaction that I have with both you and Ramfis over the months, and see how your business has grown. So thank you, Christie. I really appreciate it.
Yes, no, we appreciate you so much. We love you. We love you so much.
Thank you. Much success to you as well.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, I don't know about you, but I absolutely love hearing stories like Christie's, where people just have a vision for a business that they want to create, their very own thing, to provide for their families and give them a life and possibilities and freedoms that they just didn't imagine were possible before they took that chance. And Christie took that chance along with Ramfis, and they're just doing a fantastic job. And there are stories like this all across the United States, and I've had the privilege of being a part of some of those stories. The Carshare Academy has helped over 800 hosts across the United States in one way or another, and a lot of those hosts have come through the Carshare Academy, learned from us, and gone on to build successful businesses like Christie. If you're thinking about getting into this Turo business, I want to welcome you into the Carshare Academy family. We have 3 membership plans that you can take a look at, and they are plans to fit every budget, every level of expertise that you want to gain before beginning in this business. And we're here to help you. So you'll see the link here on the screen. I've also dropped it down in the video description, and would love to have you join our family. Now, if you are one of these rising stars, I want to tell your story. If you've watched Christie's story here and you're thinking to yourself, wow, I've done pretty well too, I'm pretty excited about my Turo business, I'd love to tell my story, please drop me an email at carsharecoach@gmail.com, and we'll have a conversation, and we'll get a interview scheduled with you so that you can tell your story as well. All right, thank you for taking the time to be here. Awesome to connect with you. Happy hosting. Be well. Do good.